Hi, my name is Tanya King and welcome to Little Country Houses. We're making this video to give you an introduction to the cabins and to explain how everything works. Due to the COVID situation, we have had to remove cushions and some of the throws, etc. So it is a little more simple than it has been previously, but we do need to make sure everything's clean and everybody stays as safe as possible. So I've got some new additions that I'm going to show you, so let's go for a guided tour. Underneath your cabin you will find all of the wood stacked for your fires, and you will also find kindling, which are your smaller pieces of wood, under your cabin or inside in the red fire bucket. Moving inside, we have your cooking facilities or your main cooking facilities. So these are your wood burners with ovens. Now they have an air vent on the front which you would need to keep open, so that's to the right when you're lighting the fire. As this fire starts going, you'll push that over to the left and you can tighten this knob, and you will do that when you go to bed. You don't need to put this fire out by putting water on it, you just close the air off. So to light it, this is how I normally set up a fire. We have a log either side, we have our pieces of firelighter, just a couple of pieces inside, and then 4 or 5 pieces of kindling put into a pyramid over those logs. You will light that. When this kindling has caught, after a few minutes, you will add a small log through the middle, that sort of size, and once that has caught, you can add wood of any size to your fire. Now, as mentioned, this is going to be where you cook as well. So there are 2 ways to cook on the fire. The first way is actually in the fire cavity itself. So if you pull out the rack from underneath, you will see there is a griddle tray. The griddle tray fits into the right hand side of the fire, and when this has gone down to embers, you can swing it in over the embers and cook. It works a little bit like a barbecue, absolutely amazing for steaks, but if you're vegetarian, halloumi is a really good option and something fun to try. The thing that you must be careful of is try not to put something like sausages in. If they are very fatty, it will cause the fire to flame up. So the second way to cook on the fires is using the oven on the top. These do get extremely hot, and we have in them a rack. This rack needs to be left in because the stones get so hot. You will find in the cupboards trays and foil which you can use, and you will bake and roast, etc. using the trays. The only time you may consider taking that rack out of this oven is if you wanted to cook a pizza. You can cook pizza straight on the stones, no more than 5 to 8 minutes, and they will be cooked and will be really tasty. Supply you with gauntlets when you're lighting the fires, both the wood burner and the hot tub. So please do use them, as we don't want you burning yourselves. When we're lighting the hot tub and the fire, all of your kindling, matches, etc. can be found in the red fire bucket on the deck. So we only need 4 or 5 pieces of wood to light a fire. And if you come and look inside this hot tub chamber, you will see that there is a gully here, or a gap. That is your air vent. So when we're lighting the fire, we need to keep that air vent open. In right into the fire cavity and place a couple of logs almost in a V shape, similar to how we've shown you to light your wood burner. We grab a couple of pieces of firelighter. We're going to put those in the middle and we're going to light them. Do let the match catch before you put it into the chamber, otherwise it will go out. Do need quite long arms for this. So you can see that the firelighters have caught. So over those firelighters now, we're going to add our 4 or 5 pieces of kindling in sort of a pyramid shape. And the lid we put back on, and we keep in this fully open position on this air vent. So we will leave that just for a couple of minutes for it to catch up. And as it's catching up, we will then start to add more wood in bigger pieces. So we've left this fire just for about 5 minutes. So we're now going to add another piece of wood through the middle of this fire. You need to add wood gradually and build your fires up. Now, if you look inside of this chamber, you can see that there's a ridge where the fire narrows. You never bring your fire higher than that point, but we want to get at least another probably 3 logs in on top of where we are now. So to control the fire, you will do that using this lid. If you are planning on going out and the hot tub is lit, you will need to slow the fire down. So to do that, you will leave a very, very narrow gap. But if you're going out for more than about an hour, you need to think about how you manage the tub, because we recommend that you add wood every 30 minutes. When you finish with the hot tub and before you go to bed, you must ensure that you put the fire out. So to do that, lift the lid. Don't drag this lid because it gets soot on the bottom and that can end up in the water. And close the air vent fully just by placing the lid over it. You will leave the lid closed until you want to use this tub on your second day here. It will only take about an hour to an hour and a half to heat on the second day because it retains a lot of heat from the first day of being lit. So only about an hour to an hour and a half to get it back to temperature tomorrow. You also have a wooden paddle, so as the hot tub is heating, every time that you add wood, which should be about every half an hour, you will stir the water. The water is like hot air. Hot air rises and hot water rises. So you need to make sure that you stir into the bottom of the tub and push the water around so that you have an even temperature throughout. And the best way to get this temperature is by feel. When the water is heating and it feels nearly warm enough to get in, but not quite, at that point we recommend that you lay off your fire and just have 1 or 2 logs in the bottom, and it will stay hot as long as you wish to use it. When you're in the cabin, you can drop your blinds down and this becomes a fully enclosed space and will get really, really toasty with the fire going. When you drop it down, it has lugs, and you will make sure that the canvas comes over the lugs and you just turn the little pins to keep it taut. We've also given you some bungees, and you can put bungees to make sure that the bottom stays in tight as well so it doesn't flap. So inside we have a micro kitchen. The hob is on a timer, so you have to bear in mind the timer has to be turned on for the hob or the rings to work. If your kettle isn't boiling, it will be because the hob is timed out, so just come and flick that on again. A new addition is you're going to have hot water to the sink because we've put boilers in. And under the sink on the right hand side you will find pans, pots, foil, etc. And in the left hand side we have your full-size fridge with ice box, essential for your gin and tonics. Behind me you will find all of the rest of the cutlery and utensils that you should need. You also have a heater. These cabins are fully insulated and double glazed, so they do get quite hot. One thing to bear in mind with the heater is that if you have it plugged in, don't have the heater on full and put both of the rings on the hob on, because you can sometimes just overload the electricity because we're running on a Caravan electricity source here. So the sofa beds are click-clack sofa beds. They can be used as they are as a single bed. But if you want to put them up for a double, just pull the sofa away from the wall. There's a handle that you'll find. Pull that up, click the bed back over, and it drops down into a double bed for you. To put it back up, the same principle. Lift the handle, put it up, click it in position. If necessary, you may need 2 of you, one each side, to grab it, and you rock it back up. So my favourite addition to the cabins this year has been our pop-up shower shack, which you will find at the rear of your cabin. So if we go and have a quick look inside, you'll see that you've got a brilliant hot water shower, and this is what you call a shower with a view. So I hope that's given you an overview of everything at Little Country Houses. We do want you to have a great stay, so if there's anything missing, you need more firewood, or you've got any queries or questions, do give us a call, and our contact details will be found in the folder inside the cabin.